when and why did Ms. Johnson leave as assistant principal? Well, let me just say this, and we don't really go into personnel. Ms. Johnson requested a transfer, and she was granted one. And employees have that right. Also, does the parent have a right to be LSAC, to be on the principal selection committee? Yes, we normally get someone from LSAC to be on the selection committee. It's normally the chair, and sometimes it could be the vice chair. And it's just, we normally have an LSAC representative, and we have a PTSA representative on the selection committee. Why did the Board of Education did this go so long, and these issues and complaints were being brought before he came here? I'm not sure about before he came here. I know these issues that, since I've been involved, happened while he was here. Recently. You said no others had charges leveled against them. However, was anything done to remove or replace substandard teachers? Well, the role of the principal is to evaluate and assess teachers. That's the role of the principal, is to get into the classroom and see. If we have substandard teachers, then we work with them, we provide professional training for them, and we try to develop them. I look at the chief in here, and you all did quite well. So that's the role of the principal, is to work with teachers and to develop those teachers. What are the chances of getting Ms. Lynn Johnston back as she was very connected to us, the kid back in parents at Summit Hill? Okay, they want Ms. Johnston back. She would have to apply just like any other individual when that posting is posted. And this card also asks about Ms. Johnson as well.
There were a couple of questions about pre-planning documents being missing and not being prepared for the beginning of the school year. Dr. Taylor has personally been here all day working with our staff members, and they called early this morning with a couple of questions, needing some help from some staff in regards to making sure that we have all the information entered and we have all the class lists ready to go. And so what we're doing in any instances, if there's any need that the school has, we're making sure that either we provide additional staff or whatever we need to provide. Now at this time, they had 2 questions this morning. We sent individuals in to assist with those questions, and those questions are answered and things are taken care of. No other questions have come up. We did check with Patty and Patsy this afternoon and said, what else do you need? And they said they're fine. So I do know both of them well, and we see each other at meetings all the time, and I'm confident that they're going to contact Dr. Taylor if there are any needs that they have. But at this particular time, there are no needs out there that we're aware of that are needed, and there are no materials that are missing or any of that to our knowledge, and they're shaking their head no as well. So that is just a rumor at this particular time, and we'll just hold it at that. But if there does become an instance where there is something that the school needs, we will make sure that those needs are met. So when the school opens on the 23rd, that students will have what they need to move forward. There's another question, and this is more of a personnel question regarding Mr. Trussell's status and what happens to him in terms of retirement and all of that. All I can say to you is that all of this is a personnel-related question, and that Mr. Trussell does have due process, and there's an opportunity for him to have conversation with counsel, and that particular part we can't get into, but there is, I would say, a vehicle for him to have his particular questions and needs addressed, and we talked about that due process earlier.
Okay. This card says the children had a tough start last year. No books for months, 1 copier teachers and volunteers having to copy all schoolwork, etc. What will you do to ensure this school year and continue well? I hope you will make yourself available on site often to make sure we aren't 3 months down the road when it becomes obvious. One of the goals of our school board is to make sure that students have their textbooks on the first day. And I talked with Ms. Walton today, and I asked them, I said, do you all have all your textbooks? And so we will make sure, I'll continue to ask that question. You should have textbooks, and I'll make sure that we have the materials that teachers need, copiers and things like that. I'm not sure why, but I'll raise those questions and I'll share that as well with Ms. Barlow. It is very important for our teachers to have what they need so they can start the school year off right. And so we'll ensure that. Today we had an issue with some of the scheduling and all like that. I called Dr. Anderson and she made it happen. The people are out here helping to schedule the special needs because that information was not available. But we're going to do what it takes to make sure that this school has what it needs to start the school year right. Understand that the enrollment is down. There may be further job loss. Is this accurate? I'm not sure of the enrollment numbers, but I can find that out. I'm not sure if Ms. Walton knows those numbers or their forecasts. I have that information. I just don't have it on me, but I can get that to you.
One of the things that we do throughout the school system for all of the schools, we have what we call our 10-day count meetings, and we get together as staff members. We have HR there, we have budget there, we have all the area superintendents and myself, and we look at the projected number for each school. We look at the enrollment, and we look at that several times. We have meetings every week where we talk about the enrollment and how many students have enrolled, how many students have transferred to another school. So we make sure that we're able to have the teachers in place. One of the things that we do is we even go to the telephone and we call the school and say, this is the projected number, this is what we're showing in our system in terms of enrollment for your students today. Have you enrolled any additional students? And then we make decisions upon that. If we have to make any changes, we work very closely with the school staff, the administrative staff, as we make those changes. Again, we don't have the particular numbers about Birmingham in place to share that information with you tonight, but I will tell you that as a system overall that usually this time before school opens, we don't have quite the number of students in place. We have many students, and I don't even want to say a number right now, but they've been calling us and planning and telling us that we have lots of students that have enrolled that typically enroll a little bit later. So our numbers system-wide is looking, they're looking really good right now, but we can't talk about Birmingham specifically because we don't have that information.
Okay. This card says, how much involvement will parents have in the selection of the principal? You remember, if you recall, I said you'll have 2 opportunities. You'll have, we'll send out a survey, and we'll ask you the kinds of characteristics you want to see, and then we'll have your parent leaders participate on the selection process. It's part of the selection committee. When will the files be available so parents will have access to the charges? Well, it's open record, and I think that you just request that through the superintendent's office,